Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this edition of Primetime Newscast in the English language and Canal International. Members of the divisional officer of a condo city and others who died following an explosion have been thrown into desolation and frustration. The relations of the victims who died when their car stepped on a separate planted explosive are inconsolable as the governor pleads for calm to reign. At a time when wildlife protection continues to dwindle, calls have been multiplied for Cameroon to do more to save its wildlife. And the Cameroon Association of Female Jurists are building mechanisms to advocate the harmonization of laws on families and persons in Cameroon. This, as I said, the two judicial systems handle family cases differently, putting citizens in confusion. Those are major stories. Details right ahead. Family members of the divisional officer of a condo city and others who died following an explosion have been thrown into desolation and frustration. The relations of the victims who died when their car stepped on separate planted explosive are inconsolable as the governor pleads for calm to reign. The attack is the freshest in a series of attacks in the same Zian division. Regional Leketanda tells us more.
A family that cannot be consoled. They are family members of victims that died following the explosion of a separatist planted improvised explosive device in Bekora, a few kilometers from Ikondotiti, Dian division of the Southwest region. Amongst the dead is a divisional officer of Ikondotiti, Timothy Aboloa, the mayor, Nanji Kenneth, Ebuke William, the section president of CPDM, the patrol of Ikondotiti, Akono, and the driver, Ebeku Williams. According to the Southwest Regional Governor Bernard Okala-Bilai, the administrator was heading for a Meet the People tour in Bekora before the explosion. Pro-independent fighters immediately claimed responsibility for the attack once the pictures went viral on social media. When the news broke on Wednesday, the family members who could not believe rushed here at the Limbe Regional Hospital mortuary where the corpses were expected. It was total desolation for the members who were not going to see their loved ones again. It is the latest attack of the armed group in the Ndian division of the Southwest region. It was just a few months back that 5 students still in Ikondotiti were shot dead at a secondary school. 5 delegates in the same Ndian division are still unaccounted for several months after they were abducted. This recent attack now comes to dash hopes of a return to normalcy in the region troubled for 5 years.
And following yesterday's Ikondotiti attack that left 5 persons dead, including the divisional officer and the mayor of that locality, Southwest governor has led a delegation of top military officers and army generals to Ikondotiti to have first-hand information on the latest happenings and also to call the population to remain calm. Let's take a listen.
On behalf of the head of state and the entire government, we came here to assess the situation and to reassure the population that the head of state and all his government are there. To neutralize those evil forces, those who want to destabilize Jan division, those who want to destabilize the Southwest and the entire nation. As I said in my message, the forces of evil will never prevail on the forces of good. The state is for good for everybody. The state is working for the security of the population. And the population of Ekundu should remain reassured that from the head of state, from the Prime Minister, who is a son of this place, and from the entire government, all means are being put in place to eradicate this phenomenon of terrorist attack. The population of Jan division are known for their patriotism, for their peaceful way of life, so they should not panic. They are not abandoned, as some may believe. The state is there, and the state will continue to protect them. That is the message I carry from the head of state to deliver to the population of Ekundu and Indian division, to tell them that they should continue to collaborate with the authority of the state and to believe in the head of state.
And with much regret that their villages are dilapidating due to the abandonments as a result of the socio-political crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. The people of Ngi subdivision, Momo division of the northwest region have decided to start a live or return process back to their village to say the situation worsening more. In the following story.
Members of the National Executive of the Ngi Cultural and Development Association have recently met in Bamenda to drum up strategies for the return of the runaway populations dispersed across the national territory and living under close to inhuman conditions due to the security crisis. The one-day meeting reached a number of resolutions, among them the reopening of schools in the 19 villages and 2 adorates and the raising of funds to ease the return process.
We intend to raise funds in order to assist most of our displaced brothers and sisters, whom we call the IDPs, even some of our funds who have been displaced, they are living out of the community. And for them to go back, it's not a day job, it's not bonbon. And so most of them, they complain they don't have money, they have stayed out for long. So we must raise funds, we must talk peace, money must come out of the pocket.
Also attended by some funds and adorates, the meeting dwelt on the educational and socio-economic prowess of these people of Momo division origin. The new dispensation following the law on decentralization, which was detailedly explained by the mayor, creates room for harmonious relationship between municipal councils and socio-cultural groups.
It is now mandatory for the council to work hand in glove with the development association. And for that reason, that the mayor and the president general of the development association thought it wise to bring in all the stakeholders of the local development to come so that together we can put our heads together and see how those who were displaced from home can start going home.
The dust raised during the last political elections was settled the use of the local peace plans, after which political rivals saw each other eyebrow to eyebrow. For one of the very rare moments, Ngi is
in Cameroon. These, as I said, the two judicial system handle family cases differently, putting citizens in confusion. They have just rounded up a 2-day workshop in Yaoundé on the harmonization procedure to be submitted to the state. More in the following story.
It is with a heavy heart that the Cameroon Association of Female Jurists highlights the problems surrounding the non-existence of harmonized family laws and the confusing nature of some few articles binding family affairs.
There's no family law as such. There's the common law, which has so many attributes and how they treat family issues. And then there's the civil law. You see, so now we need a code like the Cameroon Penal Code, so that people can know that Article 1 is this, Article 2 is that. And then you will know where you stand, and I know where I stand.
Reason for this workshop for the restitution, harmonization and validation of observations on the draft bill of persons and family laws of Cameroon, the female legal minds seeking to advance concrete proposals to the states.
This is a workshop which is going to handle issues of the code that will be involved in the family, regulating the family and persons, will go a long way to try to harmonize the rights of parties, the rights of succession, the rights of equality for both the male and female child, because as long as other laws in our land and the Constitution says everybody is equal before the law, it should go for every sector of the law. So this harmonization of this code of the family and the persons will go a long way to see that the applicability of the law on succession, adoption and so on will go smoothly.
Presiding over the opening ceremony of the 2 days workshop this March 2nd at the amphitheater of the National School of Administration and Magistracy, ENAM, the Minister of Women Empowerment and the Family, Marie-Thérèse Abena Ondua, says the document is highly awaited by all Cameroonians.
If we can reach the end point to see that document finalized and made available, it will be extremely helpful for families and women in particular, so that everybody knows their rights. And it will also be extremely important to vulgarize the content of the document, because we know that we cannot move if we still have inequalities and injustices ongoing within families, and particularly on women and girls. So we hope that this will be a booster so that we can have the finalized document adopted and made available to the public.
The female juries equally challenge other civil society activists to file in contributions for the realization of this important tool.
When wildlife protection continues to dwindle, more calls have multiplied for Cameroon to do more to save its wildlife. The call comes as the nation joins the rest of the world today to celebrate World Wildlife Day. More on the story with our reporter, Regina Leketandak.
From chimpanzees to cross-river gorillas, elephants and pangolins, the list of Cameroon's wildlife threatened is long. Cameroon joins the rest of the world this March 3rd to celebrate World Wildlife Day under the theme Recovering Species for Ecosystem Restoration, a theme experts say is timely.
This is a century, a period, in time whereby we have to restore species for posterity, for research. We have to restore species for balance in our ecosystem.
Man is inextricably linked with the environment, what makes the restoration process even more important.
We depend on the ecosystem for our livelihood. Without the forest, without the trees, without the biodiversity, species are simply just elements that make up the biodiversity which we depend on. And that joined together to give us the livelihood we have on Earth. Imagine a life without a forest. Imagine a life without water.
The Sustainable Run for Development, SORODEV, a local NGO, has been working with communities in the Bamenda Highlands to help reduce pressure on wildlife population.
We try as much to conceive projects together with these people. Hunters who have lived on hunting as an income generation activity is usually very hard for them to just quit hunting or poaching. In this case, we adopt, friendlier activities, lifestyles. Like for women, it's mostly market gardening and harvesting and valorization of non-timber forest products like our jasa and so on. So we make sure that we enrich the forest or these landscapes with these trees that are economically beneficial.
With the ever-dwindling population of wildlife, experts have urged government to do more to protect its natural heritage.
Minister of Trade in his recent tour in markets in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, for the evaluation of the availability of products in markets, confirms that there are enough products both in quality and in quality, contrasting to what is said on the social media. He debunks increasing prices of basic commodities. More in the following story with our reporter Udmo Usumi.
According to Luke Magloa Barga Atangana, fish, rice, meat, oil, spaghetti and many other products are fully available in the Cameroonian market at affordable prices.
But what I have seen that the products are available. This is sure. All the, we call it necessary products. They are available. And at the same time, the price, what we have seen is that the prices are affordable.
Though the reality in the Cameroonian market portrays high increase of prices of basic commodities, the trade boss contradicts such claims.
But the reality is very different of what he said through the media. For me, it's clear. You have seen. Take the example of fish. You have many, many varieties of fish, and the prices are also different. But take the mackerel, for instance. People have been told that mackerel was at 2,000 francs. It's not the truth. The maximum price is 1,500. And you have very excellent fish, which is at 900 francs. So I think that people have to come themselves to the market and not to stay in their house and just commenting what they are learning from social network.
The minister reiterates that the prices of commodities are fixed by the ministry, though there are other possibilities to change. But with references to the ministry, traders called on to respect such prices or face heavy sanctions.
And ahead of the International Women's Day, a training program has held today in Douala to address the problems of poverty in the lives of women with disability. New technology is said to be the solution to solving their problems. More on the story with our reporter, Stephanie Chin.
The living standards of persons with disabilities is a concern. The fears of being marginalized gradually leaves them. With the assistance of REDAC and ICI Elaba, associations promoting and preserving rights of persons with disabilities. Digitalization is a field they have been encouraged to explore.
Avec les techniques de l'information.
To give them gadgets of new technology so that with their smartphones, they can develop their businesses and earn money. The main guideline of this training program centers on online platforms as a means to earn money. According to Mrs. Alice Nkom, disabled women should venture into diverse activities and learn more. Women with disabilities should learn how to build a project and know who must address them. The means to attain desired empowerment of the disabled woman is sometimes far-fetched. They don't have the means to buy phones. The independence of women with disabilities must be at the center of our preoccupation. With recommendations initiated during this workshop, persons with disabilities are hopeful of a better life in the days ahead.
The Development of the United Nations has reviewed its development strides in Cameroon for the year 2018-2021. The conclave that is presently holding in Douala is taking a look at the areas when the United Nations has sustained Cameroon. Kajan Henry Atembe completes that story.
Cameroon and the United Nations Development Programme have reviewed cooperation ties from 2018 to 2021.
UNDP work closely with government of Cameroon and contribute to create 7,200 jobs for youth and women people. We also contribute to training of security staff, 1,000 security staff. We also contribute to build infrastructure, health center, school, and water point. And UNDP will continue to work closely with government of Cameroon to implement a new country program document, and we intend to invest at least 150 million USD during a period of implementation of new program.
Key priority areas earmarked for development were revisited during an opening of a review conclave in Douala on March 2, 2022. From the reports, Cameroon and the United Nations Development Programme have made great strides in some key sectors like health, education, agriculture, and some areas slated in the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, including assistance to those in the crisis zones. A new cooperation protocol has been signed between Cameroon and the United Nations Development Programme to run from 2022 to 2026 to the tune of $150 billion.
And that report by Kejan Henry Atembe brings us to the end of this edition of Newscasts on Canal the International. Thanks so much for watching. We have news in the French language at exactly 19:50 with Alain Gislain Kangabe. Coming up next is the brief for Leo Piejou. As for me, I'll be back same time tomorrow. Good night.